Welcome, gamers, to the GAU Studios Gamer Summit, where we pose the most important questions about the video game industry. Today, we are coming at you from the Prudential Center, the Microsoft Store in Boston, Massachusetts. I am your host, Eric Rickety Beans Urbino, and I am joined by my esteemed panel. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Drew D3 Freyer.
I'm Andy. I'm playing Final Fantasy. He's watching.
And I'm Oz, Sanguinary Oz Krajewski.
I'm going to turn it off. He's distracted.
And I'm
No, it's good. It's good.
Drew is
That's what we're
doing.
here for. It's business research.
Drew's doing the do. We're just doing what we normally do, and we're going to talk about video games. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I'm really considering the hype train today. Maybe it's because Destiny is releasing some info and people are getting really excited. But this happens with a lot of games. You know, we see this Borderlands pre-sequel where people wait in line for 2 hours to see a video to join the hype train. What do we generally think about hype when it comes to video games? Does it help it? Does it hurt it? What do we think?
Are you talking about like the industry hype or like player generated, like people getting excited?
Different types of hype right off the bat.
That's true. Now, I would say let's focus on the industry hype, but
Right.
you know that gamer hype comes from players.
It does, but you always get that generated like that crazy hype, man. Like, oh, dude, it's gonna be sweet, and then you're like,
He's so awesome.
like I remember one year at a big game developers conference, the guys at South Peak hyped Two Worlds 2.
yeah.
That's not a lie. They were like, this game is going to be sweet. And they had like crazy commercials, and they hired some like crazy MC guy who was a comedian who was like telling jokes, and it was nuts. And I remember seeing the visuals, and we were all like, okay, I'll buy some of that hype. And then, wow, it was terrible.
Let's just be really honest. Good marketing, good PR builds hype, okay? You know, if you're successful with getting the message out, and it doesn't matter if you're a third-party, you know, PR agent for another company, if you can get people excited in any kind of way about a game just by talking about it, I mean, there's a lot of examples we've had about this. You know, you got your Call of Duty hype every single year, because all people do is, for example, Call of Duty, you get amped about it, but by October, people are just like, I'm excited again. But every single year, Call of Duty comes out. January, we're so sick of it. February, we're still sick of it. March, trailer.
But
April. Okay, then I'm excited again.
But I don't
they
understand
know
how people get hyped
because
for that.
they
It's the
know.
same thing every year.
The thing is, though, they know how to advertise it the right way at the right time. Advertising is what hits you every single time.
I think that's it. I don't want to overspeak Drew, but anything he's gonna say. But yeah, I don't know. But I just feel like. So the industry is hyping it, and it gets hyped by the marketing team, and they have these awesome bombastic
It's their
commercials.
job.
But then you have like people on IGN, and by people I mean the journalists on IGN, who are like, "This is the coolest Call of game ever. It has dogs in it," and that generates more hype because these people watch, or they specifically like trust a certain person on IGN, and they build into that hype. And where's this hype coming from? Is it all marketing, or is it websites telling you?
Let me tell you, a good marketer knows how to put you in the zone. They know how to, I'm going to give you a car. I'm going to have these ladies escort you. I want to have these snacks. Oh, look, champagne. Now here's your game. Okay? I'm sorry, but the truth is, you can get a particular editor or journalist hyped about a particular game if it's one of their big favorite games. If they've spoken about Dark Souls, for example, I know a particular journalist, I can't say his name, but he was so amped about Dark Souls coming out because he was a Demon Souls fan to the point where he was just biased.
Was it Drew?
No, it was from a particular website that starts with the word game. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? No, he really did get kind of nailed for it because he didn't review. They think that he didn't review the game fairly because he was such a hardcore fan. He was overlooking everything.
Well, we talked about that. That goes into what we talked about a couple weeks ago, talking about review, and I think that the hype is different than review. If you're talking about just like the wave of hype in general,
yes,
I think it's less important whether or not you're a fan of the game or not a fan of the game. I think if the game is genuinely exciting, it's a lot easier to get kind of worked up. Whereas, like, let's say, the new Call of Duty is coming out and you're not really psyched about it, but you're super psyched about Call of Duty. Obviously, the hype is going to be way more geared towards him than roping in new guys. That's just kind of what they do every year.
That's true.
Like, look at Assassin's Creed, that new Unity trailer that just came out, okay?
Yep.
We knew Assassin's Creed trailer was coming out. We didn't know what to expect, but the trailer was ominous to go, okay.
Shit, that actually got me hyped.
Yeah, that was it. Though. It just got you enough to
Damn it, they
that was
gotcha.
a taste.
They got me.
It was a taste. Oh God, we're Renaissance France. I didn't expect that. I want to look more into it. And then the moment of the piece that comes out, they know how to reel you in. It's good marketing.
That's good marketing. That's like they're taking pieces. They take up a little bit, and they don't even show you anything in the game. It's like here's a slow shot, an establishing shot that pans in, and you're like, oh, there's an assassin, and then you see like the guillotine, and you're like, okay, cool. It's it's that time period in France. It's right near the Revolution. So you got it. They
By the
didn't really
second
do
trailer, you're going to say,
anything.
I don't care. I want this
But
game.
they were smart because they were like, okay, what do people want in Assassin's Creed game? They want to see what the assassin looks like. Check.
Yeah.
They want to know what time period it is. Check.
Guillotine.
They want to see where it is. Check. That's all they did.
Well,
And
that's,
what the name is. Assassin's Creed blank.
It's
Like,
really interesting, too, because we have new types of gamers coming out now that are essentially, I always bring it up, the non-gamers, the people who like to watch games. And I feel like I'm partially one of them. I'm like 50% a non-gamer. And I love subsisting off of the hype train. I love watching other people play games. It's like, I love watching commercials. I think some of the best moments in gaming history are the big unveils for the titles that are coming up. When you're at like a PAX or an E3 and they suddenly show like old Solid Snake jumping up on the back of a walker and taking it down, and the crowd just goes nuts. And that is like some of the coolest feelings you can have as a gamer, I feel like.
I
It's-
agree.
I think that's a kind of a different side of it. So like I get, yeah, you see this game, you loved the franchises before, and you see the game, and then you're like, yeah, and then they promote it for 2 years, and you're just like, I can't wait to play this game, and then you play it. Does it influence whether or not you like that game because you bought into the hype? Your brain doesn't want to tell you this game is bad because you convinced yourself for 2 years that it was good. Take GTA 5, for example.
Right. Yeah.
All of that. Oh, my God. Everybody was so excited. The single player was pretty fun. It was great. And then we hit online, and everybody was like, no, it's okay. It's cool because I love them still.
Right.
Like, does the hype still play into when you actually play the game?
I think that's a little different. I think that's more like that's crossing the line into like if you overhype a game. Like I think the guys at Rockstar were really smart. Like everybody knew that GTA 5 was coming out. It was just when.
Well, you
like,
saw so little of it
right.
that you're like,
They were smart
everything
about
is
it.
cool.
And then when we saw everything that year,
Yeah.
they prepped it. I would say maybe it came out what, September?
Yes.
So maybe like the beginning of that year, like May, April. That's when they really went nuts with all the hype stuff. Because then they were like, okay, it's definitely coming out. We're gonna get people worked up.
Yeah, you know the date. It's
Yep.
coming, and now we just get to feed into it.
And then you see the opposite. You see stuff like Watch Dogs. Like Watch Dogs got hyped so big last year. It was going to be a launch title for
But
the
they
next gen
weren't ready.
systems.
Yeah.
And then it got pushed back and pushed back.
So-
And I think it lost a little bit. I've had people coming in, and they're talking about the games and whatnot, and they're like, oh man, I really want to get that, but I'm not sure if it's going to come out now. And I'm like, dude, it's coming out. It's going to establish.
See, what
date.
happened was that that for the sake of pre-orders and games coming out, they took a hit. But I mean, I don't want to get off the hype train topic, but the developers did take a hit, saying this game isn't good enough. We're not releasing it. Not many people.
Yeah, so you got to
do
be
that.
careful with the hype.
Yeah.
Kind of bite you too.
Well,
so.
let's get real. So Watch Dogs just last week, they put out an 8-minute multiplayer gameplay and then like an 8-minute single-player gameplay. Hype train. I mean, it got me so stoked about it. But Andy, like honest question. I mean, because I would answer yes to this question. When I play that game for the first time, will I assume this is a good game without taking, will I actually look at it and be like, oh, all this? Or will you just be like, oh, I don't like this? You kind of have to like it.
It's it's one of those things where it's really hard to ask me because I've always wanted
he
a
has a
game like
Ubisoft tattoo, so
yeah, I really do have a
You
Ubisoft
can't fall
tattoo.
off that train.
I honestly can't. I've drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
The truth is, though, honestly, I have a bias because it's the kind of game I've always wanted. I've always loved the character. It's going to be really hard for me to come off that cloud. You shouldn't even let me review the game. I swear to God, I mean that.
Well, that makes
Good,
The way
I'll
I
review
see
it.
You really should. The truth is, though, the way I feel about reviews and how strongly I feel about the way the game should be viewed, you shouldn't let somebody like me play the game
yeah,
and
you need
review
somebody
it.
who's neutral. Like,
I need more
You
neutral.
need like a
yeah.
Switzerland type.
Drew,
guy.
go ahead.
I have an instance of a time when I was violently derailed from the hype train.
Yes.
And it
Okay,
was
let's hear it.
Amnesia. Well, the first game was amazing. I streamed that game. I finished that game. and it
Amnesia
scared
Dark
the crap-
Descent, or
Yeah, Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
yes, okay.
And then Machine for Pigs got like teased, and that game looked so scary.
Yeah.
And it looked like an amazing experience with pigs in London. It's so cool coming from the people who made Amnesia, who could do no wrong in my book. I was so hyped, and that game was terrible. And I immediately realized it while playing it. I still beat it, but I would never give that game a good review. So
But you bought it day one, or
I
you paid full price?
nope.
Okay. So that's
him
a
not
whole
admitting
difference.
something.
Yeah.
If it was good, I would have.
That's different though. We
yeah.
talked about that before, the whole like dollar amount versus.
Oh,
enjoyment.
yeah.
Like that's again. I think that's a little different than hype. I think for me, being maybe a more distinguished gamer, I think one of the things that I look for is
he's the esteemed guest. I found
Put the
him.
pinky up really quick.
being a rather big deal myself.
Yes, I polished my golden
Well,
controller.
So a big thing for me is like it's hard for me to buy into the hype because like you guys, I've been bitten too many times where they're like, oh, this is gonna be great, and I'm like, yeah, it really wasn't. Or like, oh, this is gonna be sweet, it's gonna be totally different than last time, and nope, it's not. It's the same thing.
You
Did
know
I
what?
ever tell you the definition of insanity?
That's probably how the hype train functions, though. With
Right.
kids, the primary gamers,
Right.
they haven't been like hurt like we
Absolutely.
have.
Absolutely.
They're not
And
grizzled
sometimes-
old men like
sometimes
us.
it works. If it's a good game, it's okay to have the hype train. But stuff like Destiny, we're talking about Destiny earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm super amped for that game. Like, I love the Halo series. I like the vast majority of the stuff that Bungie's done. And I was like, okay, cool, they're making a sci-fi shooter. I was already interested. And then they were like, whoa, it's way bigger than that. And I was like, I don't understand. And they explained it. And even their first couple interviews, they were like, well, we can't really say too much about it. And the more I've learned, I'm like, dude, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm totally bought in. Like,
Isn't it
Yeah.
fun to be bought in on the hype train?
completely.
I love riding the train.
But they were crafty about it. They didn't just come out and like smash your face into it. They kind of
They
eased into
gave
it.
you the
And-
app. They gave you teaser trailers.
and it
They
took
really
them a while,
did.
but it took them a while. It didn't happen all at once. They kind of did one at a time, and they kind of like, let's put another log on the fire.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give it some time to
Yeah.
burn. Let's put another log on the fire. And I'm sure that Activision is really mad because Activision, that's not what they do. They're like, let's just throw everything at them until they drown
Yeah.
under the hype, and then they have to buy it. And Bungie was like, yeah, this is our project. We signed a 10-year deal. We have a lot of control. We're not doing it that way.
Right.
Well, do you
Seems
think
like
that's
it's-
going to affect your game when you play it the first time, though?
That's
Do you
got
think
nothing-
you're going to be like, I have to like this game?
Dude, are you kidding me? It's going to be like seeing Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back and be like, what is that?
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
That's-
Truth
the
is,
thing,
I,
though.
see I look at the big games this year, and Destiny's the kind of game, it's a slow burn. It may not be over the top day one, but I know that game will be played for years
Oh,
until
yeah.
until more comes out. It's that kind of game, like, I want to keep coming back to this, because you know what? If I look at the big five
Yeah.
games this year, Titanfall's one of them. The biggest hype train that was at the start of the year.
Yep.
And the hype was bigger for Titanfall than it was for Infamous.
It came quick, too.
Yeah, it came really just
It
like
only
boom,
had like
boom,
a
boom,
6
boom,
month.
boom.
It
was
was like
done
6
with it
Right,
quick,
and then
too.
and like in all the games that are coming out this year so far, if we think about the biggest games this year, Destiny is one of the biggest games we're talking about this year. I think if I had to predict the other bigger games, I think Call of Duty is going to be all over it no matter what.
Yeah.
The other two
It's a safe
guesses
bet.
that I have, I'm clueless actually, because there's nothing.
The Order, maybe?
The order. Is,
It's because it's single system. I don't think it's really. It's a new IP. I think
So
it's
is
gonna be great.
Titanfall generates so much hype. I think these companies put so
But
much
they have-
behind
but they
games
have
like
a
that.
lot of- they have a lot of backing because it's like from the guys who brought you Modern Warfare, and you're like, ooh, instantly
Yeah.
they have a pedigree.
True.
What
You
about
know?
Evolve?
I think Evolve will be good.
Evolve actually, I'm gonna say that now because Evolve has a lot of hype because from the guys who made Left 4
Yeah.
Dead. I'll buy it.
Yeah, that's
You
that's
know,
what
like,
they're
that's
pushing.
exactly
That's
what
at the
happened.
beginning of every video. I mean, and then at PAX you have
Right.
a $500,000 statue hanging in there and a line that's 3 hours long to play a game. And then this week they released a 51-minute trailer. 51-minute. It was a full match.
It's like an eighth of a game.
Yeah, I don't
It, it was a full match from everybody's point of view, mushed together.
Oh.
It's really cool. Check it out. But obviously, hype train.
I think the
but
crew.
like
Yeah, the crew
another
actually.
big one.
crew. So I played the
That was
crew
at PAX
packs.
too.
Yeah.
That's
I noticed how excited I felt
Well,
when I
it's
said
not
that.
because it's not designed to be played as a demo. It's a giant,
It's an
open world,
experience.
immersive driving game where everyone's a different driver. I was like, that's pretty cool, and you can drive anywhere.
and yeah,
You can drive Boston to Chicago and like take all
Yeah,
the same
you
roads
can-
and everything. I was like,
yeah.
that's pretty sweet. So
Well,
Well-
I mean,
So gamers, do you like to ride the hype train?
Yeah.
Let us know on our
No.
Twitter or Facebook.
I don't like
like
it.
to ride the hype train. Oz does too, but
don't-
he doesn't want to admit it
no,
to you.
I don't like it.
I think we've come to the
Oz is riding the Destiny hype train all the way to town.
all you do is talk about
to
it.
be fair, I bought a ticket and I got on the train. And then I was like, okay, all right. And then I tried to get off and I got hit by the train.
Then he got moved by VIP.
It's different. That was not my, that was
can't
not my
jump off
idea.
the
I think we've
It
come
wasn't
to
my
the
idea.
point where we've all decided that it depends on the title. There's something personal that hits us on the hype,
Yeah.
and it hits all of us at one point.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If I say, hey, by the way, guys, new Zelda's out in 6 months, hype, and you know it.
And you're the only Nintendo guy, so
You
I'm
know-
like, whatever.
Don't look at me as an
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. What?
Oh,
All
all
right.
being
3DS
honest.
here? Get rid of that.
Definitely, definitely, guys. Let us know in the comments. Do you board the hype train, and what games you board it for? and whether you liked them or not at the end of the day. But that was GAU Gamer Summit, brought to you by GAUstudios.com. Make sure you go to our website for all the latest video game news and commentary, but also follow us on Facebook and like us on Twitter, or do the opposite of those two things,
Absolutely.
whatever works. But that is all that we have today on Gamer Summit. Everybody, game on.
Stop by next week for Oz's hype intervention.
I gotta get off this hype train.
Oz, your hype has affected me in the following ways.
Sorry.
No!
I can't look at a Destiny trailer anymore.